Adam Small here again from My Music Masterclass, and today we have yet another review for you. This one is from Xvive. This is their new guitar and bass wireless system at 5.8 gigahertz, and it's called the P58. But before we get started with this review, we're gonna do the disclaimer, which we always do on this channel. Xvive did send us this product in exchange for the video review that you're watching right now, but they didn't tell us to say anything specific, coach us in any way. We're always unbiased on this channel, and this review will be no different, so let's get to it. So I have my overhead camera set up right here so you can see what this thing looks like, and so I can show you some of the features up close. So you're seeing what basically comes in the package. The 9-volt power supply is included, but I have it plugged in right now, so I'm not putting it in this camera. And also the manual, but that's not important to put in this shot. This is the receiver, and it looks like a guitar pedal, right? And it really does look like a guitar pedal, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. It has a USB-C cable, and there's a transmitter for you. So the basic specs of this thing are that it runs on 5.8 gigahertz. The audio is transmitted at 24-bit, 48 kilohertz. The manual states that it has a range of about 100 feet, and the frequency range is between 20 hertz and 20 kilohertz. The manual states that this unit can be used with guitars or basses, both active and passive, whether it be an electric guitar or an acoustic guitar with a piezo pickup, or a bass, passive or active, like I said. Now, if we take a look at this pedal for a second, we see, like I said, that this looks like a guitar pedal, right? You have your switch here, you have an output and an input, and right here you have the choice between true bypass or buffered modes. On the back of this pedal, it's very simple. You have a port for the 9-volt adapter, which is included with this pedal, and the USB port. Now, while the receiver will be plugged in via the 9-volt adapter, like I explained, the transmitter is rechargeable, and they say it offers 5 hours plus of battery life. Now, let me show you something here. This USB-C port that I just showed you from the receiver, its only purpose is to charge the transmitter. So you can plug this cable in, or any USB-C cable you have, and charge this directly from this, which is plugged in probably on your pedal board. The transmitter is very simple. You have an on and off switch, a channel mode button, and this is flexible. So depending on what jack you're putting this into, could be helpful. All right, so I powered these things on, and let me show you. Well, they paired instantly, which is great. I didn't really have to do anything. But if I had to, right here, this is a channel scan button, right? So you have 6 available channels at 5.8 gigahertz. If I needed to scan for the best channel, let's say I'm in a noisy environment, meaning noisy with wireless signals, I can scan for the best channel. It'll pick it. As long as you pick the same channel on this, you'll be good to go. I don't think I need to do that for this review, but changing the channel is literally like pressing the channel button, and it goes up from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. Just match that on both of these and it works instantly. One final thing I want to show you on this transmitter before we get to playing is that on the side, you have the channel mode button, like I said before, but what mode is changing this from passive to active. So what we'll do is try this out on both passive and active instruments in a minute. Now, I did look on YouTube before I started filming this, and looked around because I hate regurgitating the same content that's already up there. And I didn't see anyone testing this thing out with a bass, and so that's what we're gonna do today. As you can see, I put the transmitter in my bass here. For those of you who are interested, this is my short scale Jaguar bass that I modded a couple videos ago on this channel, and you probably know that it's a new toy, so I'm into playing it right now. So this is what's happening. First thing we're gonna do is tune the bass, but how do we do that? Oh yeah, this thing's a tuner as well. If you click this button, it not only mutes your sound, but it enters tuner mode. But before I play anything, I want to mention one other thing that you can see here. This has an input, right? Like I showed you. So what would you use that input for? Well, let's say you don't want to be wireless on a gig and this thing's already on your pedal board, right? It's a 9-volt power supply. You can chain it with your other pedals. Or you wanted to be wireless, but you forgot to charge the transmitter. You could just run through this pedal like it's a tuner, and it won't affect your sound on true bypass. Just put it right through and, you know, bypass the wirelessness. That being said, since I read the manual, it did say that you could get 2 of these units, you know, as a backup. And if you set them for the same channel, like let's say this dies, during sound check and you're like, oh crap, I forgot to charge it. You could use your spare if it's charged up and just set it to the same channel and it'll work with this unit the same way. The first thing we're gonna do is active versus passive bass test. I'm gonna put this 100% P pickup, no J pickup, and we're gonna see how this sounds as a passive instrument first. Little back pickup maybe. All right, let's try an active bass now. But before I plug this bass in, I have to change the mode on the transmitter. Right now we're in passive mode. I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but there's a tiny A right here with an LED and it's not illuminated. So let's hold down this button. If you just short press it, you're gonna go through the channels. But if I long press it, eventually, voila, it is active mode. All right, so this is an active 5-string bass, and I wanna show you something that I just found out. This thing tracks a B string on the tuner. Check it out. All right, enough of that. Back to the other bass. Let's try a tone check in between the wireless and direct and see if the tone changes. All right, I'm back to this bass and I've figured out a way to do a pretty cool test. So this is how I routed it. I'm going chorded into my line 6 HX effects, which has 2 identical outputs right now. Output 1 is chorded, so that is just bypassing this thing altogether. And output 2 is using the transmitter, hitting the receiver, and then going into my sound card. So not only will we hear the sound and to make sure that it's identical, but we'll hear the latency, you know, it should be like 5 milliseconds or less, which is nothing. So we'll see. So you could hear that the tone sounds the same, you know, wireless or wired. And when I combine the tracks, you can hear that slight phasing, which means, yeah, we're within 5 milliseconds like they stated in the manual. One more test for you. While I'm not gonna test the entire 100-foot range, I am gonna put this thing through the paces a little bit. I am gonna go through a concrete wall and see if this thing still picks up the bass. All right, I'm in another part of my basement, obviously on a worse camera because I don't feel like setting up my good camera in here because I have to finish the video in there. But anyway, regardless of the quality, this is a 10-inch concrete wall and I'm 10 feet away from the door that goes into that other room. That's a wooden door, but it's closed, okay? Now we're about 30 feet away from where the receiver is. So let's see if we can make music through concrete wall. All right, let's see what happened. So from what I can see, this P58 system cost $249.99 as of the filming of this video. And in my brief time working with it here, it's performed really well and it's super easy to use. Now, like I said, I did do some research on YouTube before I made this video. And from all the reviews that I saw, people seem to say that this thing performed really well on all the gigs they used it on. That being said, I'm obviously in my basement doing this here, but I hope I offered some tests that, you know, the other reviews didn't. In summary, I think it's a really good 5.8 gigahertz wireless system, you know, packed with a ton of features for guitar and bass. So that's it for now. If you liked the video, please like it. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them there. And subscribe because we need more subscribers. And we'll see you next time.